This last one is down Nolan's lane because we are speculating with this last Streaming Wars news piece.
Uh-oh.
And that is the actor Mena Massoud. Me and Zach Horvath talked about him a couple weeks ago when we did that show together about how there was a report or a rumor that he might be playing a live-action Ezra Bridger. Well, this week on Instagram, he got on his personal account and he teases the idea of him playing Ezra Bridger in a very cryptic Instagram post that had the following caption: "Hey, just so you know, when I escape, I won't hurt any of you." Now, on the surface, if you haven't seen Star Wars Rebels, you would probably just keep scrolling. Because first of all, he was completely shirtless. You would probably see it. You'd be like, man, he's a good-looking guy. Then keep scrolling. But those of you that have seen Star Wars Rebels know that Ezra says this line, "Hey, just so you know, when I escape, I won't hurt any of you." He says it in Season 2, Episode 9, which is titled Stealth Strike. Is he, like, in this cryptic post, is he A, confirming that the rumor is true, or B, just messing with the fans? What do you think, Nolan?
I don't know.
It's hard to get in the guy's head, obviously, but
It is hard to.
and we're not going to judge you. This isn't going to hurt your record.
Okay. If it's not going to hurt my record, then I'll give it my honest opinion.
Okay.
So, if it is true, I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
Because where are we at with the story of Ezra when that's said? I mean, he's on the ship with Thrawn.
Well, that line is way before the Thrawn plot.
Okay.
But still, I mean, regardless, correct. But Ezra in the story was last seen with Thrawn, and he has now vanished away with Thrawn. And we know, at least in my opinion, we know that is why Ahsoka is searching for Thrawn, because she knows, obviously, Thrawn is somehow connected with his location. Regardless if they're still together, which I highly doubt. I feel like it wouldn't make sense for them to still just hang out like 30 years later. Yeah, we hate each other's guts, but we're just still sitting here in the same starship. Not happening.
Right.
But at least Thrawn will be able to put her in the correct direction, or tell her what happened with him. So yeah, that's kind of where Ezra's at. He's out there, unknown in the galaxy currently, but hopefully that's what they explore in Ahsoka. I feel like that's her mission behind why she's trying to find Thrawn.
To get to Ezra.
Correct.
I can see that.
Now, and then again, even more backstory behind why Ahsoka even wants to get Ezra. Ahsoka, in my opinion, in Rebels, was starting to view Ezra kind of as an apprentice, almost. Now, obviously, Ezra was already an apprentice to Kanan, but Kanan passed away. He didn't make it in Rebels. And I feel like Ahsoka and Ezra would be a perfect duo to maybe even carry the future of Mando-verse or Star Wars now that the sequel trilogy is over. I think those are two characters that the community has latched onto, and I could easily see it being one of those situations where it's known characters, but they're going to bring them back and make them the face of the Star Wars story here in the next few years. Kind of like how they've done with, and I know we're connected to Marvel here, but Elizabeth Olsen and WandaVision, I feel like they are possibly toying with the idea of making her the face of MCU for the next phase, kind of like they did with Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man and Chris Evans as Captain America. I think they might be transitioning that way. I think they could do that with Ahsoka, Rosario Dawson, and maybe Mena Massoud as Ezra Bridger. I don't know. What do you think? Speculator, put your speculating cap on. Where are you at with this? Like, and we're kind of pushing away from maybe him just teasing with the idea. Let's just act like this is truth. Like he's going to be Ezra. You excited to see Ezra?
So Ezra is before, like when him and Thrawn disappear or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's before the First Order.
That's before the First Order, and it's before A New Hope. So it is about, I would say, I don't know. Luke is a little kid in Rebels, because in one of the episodes it shows Kenobi watching little Luke running from a distance. So he's a little kid. So we're about 5 to 10 years away from A New Hope.
Okay.
So where's your head at with this?
Well, I was trying to get the timeline down. But man, this one's hard to do because I don't know a whole lot about. Like, I know a little bit about Ahsoka and everything, but who would they be fighting? Or do you think they would get together before the First Order? Because we know in The Mandalorian, Ahsoka is still looking.
Right.
And that's 5 years after.
Correct. After Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Now, so are you trying to connect this back to the First Order?
Well, I'm trying to get them to. When are they gonna get together?
I see.
When would they reunite in the timeline of the Skywalker saga?
It's got to be. I'm assuming if she's already asking that question in The Mandalorian, I can't imagine it being much longer down the road that they finally intersect, because we're going to get the story pretty soon. So
right.
And obviously they're not going to skip ahead in time. I would expect it happen before The Force Awakens, because we're still 25 years away from the events of The Force Awakens. I can't imagine. I mean, they got Rosario Dawson. They're not going to age her 25 years when she looks incredible, as Rosario Dawson does. So I would imagine it's going to be pretty soon. So they're going to meet each other before The Force Awakens. So they're going to meet each other when the First Order is getting established, which I think connects back to maybe how Thrawn is connected to that.
Do you think they ever meet with Luke at the new Jedi Temple?
I would love it. I would honestly love it. That's always been one of my...
Because now we got Luke in The Mandalorian.
Right. That's always been one of my I wish kind of things. I wish Ahsoka somehow would meet Luke. And now in this Mando verse, they've got that possibility. And from, me being the nerd that wants to see all of the incredible stuff that I always want to do, that's one of those things that I feel like if you don't do it, it's a missed opportunity. Because everyone would love to see Ahsoka meet the son of the person that, and not in a love interest way, but the person that she loved the most in her life as a brother, Anakin. I mean, it would be poetic if they got to meet each other. I don't know. It's something that I've always wanted to see. But I do kind of see maybe the plot issues of Ahsoka and Ezra running into Luke, but never showing up in the sequels. Because those are two huge characters that it wouldn't make sense for us to not see them in the sequels.
Right.
And then something else that throws a wrench in it is you hear Ahsoka's voice at the end of The Rise of Skywalker whenever Rey is hearing from all of the Force ghosts or past Force users. And I know Filoni's been out there saying, well, that doesn't necessarily mean she's dead, kind of thing. So, you know how it is. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. In Star Wars, nobody dies. I mean, they're coming back somehow.
Yeah. Right. But, so...
We're venturing, but we're having fun. Look, we're just talking Star Wars.
How old would she be? She would be so old.
In the sequels? Or in Rise of Skywalker?
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, add 30 years, or add 20 years, 25 years to where she's at right now. She was probably about teenager in Clone Wars. Yeah. She's probably about mid-20s in Rebels. So right now she's probably about 30, 35, 40.
Well, I mean, you look at Princess Leia.
Mm-hmm. By the time the sequels came around. That's a good point. And Ahsoka's older than Leia.
By a lot.
About however old she was in Clone Wars is how much older she is.
We'll just say 20.
Yeah. We'll stick to that to make the math easy. So, yeah, that's an interesting point. I know
she's a different species, but still.
Well, that's a whole other thing, too, in itself, is her being a different species, because we know age is different for different species. I mean,
that's probably their loophole.
Yeah. Chewie is, 800 or something? Really old? I know that number. I don't know for a fact if it's 800 right off the top of my head. And then Yoda is,
300.
No, I think he's even older, honestly. I don't know. The age of different species in Star Wars is their loophole. That's how they get around that situation. Now, Ezra can't get around that situation. He's human. Mm-hmm. That ain't changing. But anyway, to kind of get us back on the tracks here, and which I was having fun with just that quick discussion. I hope you were having fun too. We're just having fun as Star Wars fans. Ezra in Ahsoka, honestly, at this point, I'm going to say, even if it's not Mena Massoud, 90%, I'm putting like 90% of my chips on the table that Ezra shows up in Ahsoka. It's just one of those things that wouldn't make sense for it to not be addressed.
What if Thrawn has killed him?
I mean, that's a possibility, and that would legitimize a lot of non-animated show watchers. That would make Thrawn evil real quick for those that haven't watched Rebels. Like, that would be oh, man, we don't want to mess with this guy then if he killed a Jedi kind of thing. But I don't think Filoni would kill a character like that off screen for those that have watched his Star Wars Rebels, because that's his baby.
Right.
He made that thing without George Lucas, practically. George Lucas was heavily involved with Clone Wars. Rebels was more so Filoni's little baby. So I would have to pass on them killing Ezra off screen, personally. Just too big of a character. Too big of a character in the canon sphere.
Gotcha.
Who knows? What do you think, guys? Those of you listening, do you want to see A, Ezra Bridger come into Ahsoka, and B, do you want to see Mena Massoud play Ezra Bridger? I know I would love to see it. I think he's a great actor. I know Zach was talking about how he was great in Aladdin. I still haven't seen the live-action Aladdin, but he was talking about how Aladdin's character traits kind of fit perfectly with Ezra, so it would make sense for that actor to play that role. So let us know what you think. Okay.